discuss all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. But before that, let's have a look at the markets. And Ankita, although we have recovered from the opening lows, despite that, Nifty is down about 190 points.
Absolutely, Shisha, there is a recovery coming in for sure. Though we are trading with cuts of 190 points, but we have managed to recover from the day's low. In fact, we are at 24,699. We are just a point away from, though we have hit 24,700 now. We have managed to scale this 24,700 on the Nifty as of now. Recovery of more than 0.5% coming in from the day's low on Nifty. As far as Nifty Bank is concerned, there is a recovery coming in on Nifty Bank as well, even though it is trading in the red with cuts of almost 1% in trade nonetheless. Let's talk about the broader market then. If we can pull up the charts for mid-cap and small-cap indices. Well, the mid-cap is, as far as mid-caps are concerned, we do see a cut of almost more than 0.6% coming in there. Broader markets also reeling under sharp pressure. Small caps also reeling under pressure. In the red, trading with cuts of 0.7%. So sharper cuts coming in as far as broader markets are concerned. Now, remember that we do have the escalating geopolitical tension, because of which the crude prices have spiked up considerably, and on the back of that, it is weighing heavy on the markets, and as well as the crude-sensitive sectors like the OMCs are in focus on the back of that. The aviation sector, the tires, the paint companies, all of these are in focus on the back of the spike coming in on the crude. Besides that, we do have a Nifty IT. That is the only spot of hope in this market that's really holding steady, holding the fort right now. In the green. Besides that, all sectoral indices are reeling under selling pressure. Nifty IT has turned very, very flat right now, but nonetheless holding the fort in the green very strongly since get-go. Its turn is absolutely flat with gains of 0.09%. But if you look at the top Nifty gainers, we do have ONGC, BEL, Tech Mahindra, Wipro that are doing well, and on the losing side we have Adani Ports, SBI, IndusInd Bank, and Bajaj Auto that are trading with cuts of more than 1.5% in trade. Advance decline ratio tilted strongly in the favor of declines today, Ashesha.
Well, absolutely. Market continues to bleed, but let's get started with all the stocks that are buzzing in trade today. On the technical side, we have Rajesh Bhosale, technical analyst at Angel One, and from the research desk, we have Kanishka and Rabinder now joining us. But let's get started first, and Asian Paints is the stock on our radar this afternoon. This on the back of a block deal that took place yesterday. Remember, nearly 3.65% equity changed hands via block deals that took place yesterday. 3.5 crore equity shares changed hands. Reliance was the seller in this particular block deal, where they sold 3.5 crore shares. And remember, SBI Mutual Fund was the buyer in this block deal. The transaction took place at 2,201 rupees per share. The stock was in focus yesterday, continues to be in focus today on the back of this.
Alright, Rajesh, I'll come to you. You picked up Max Health for us. Tell us, what do you see on the charts for this counter? Because if I'm looking at the charts, today it's doing pretty well amid a market like this. It's trading with gains of 2.3%. In fact, in the last 6 odd months, in the last 1 month also, it's held on to gains of 5 odd %. From here on, do you see this upward momentum to continue?
Yeah, so if you see since last 6 months, it has been trading in a consolidation phase. But if we see this week, this stock has shown relative strength, and now we are seeing a range breakout from a 6 month consolidation about the 1200 zone. Likely we are going to see strongest weekly close for the stock. So in the coming weeks, we expect the stock to head towards the levels of 1300 and 1320. So bias seems to be positive. Any dip can be bought. On the lower side, somewhere around 1170 to 1150 seems to be a very strong support for this counter.
Alright, moving on to the next set of counters that are in focus today, and those are the shipping counters that are in focus today. Stocks like GE Shipping and SCI, or Shipping Corporation of India. These stocks are up almost 13% in trade. In trade after the mounting tensions between Israel and Iran that have jolted the global markets, and on the back of that, we do see the crude pushing higher, sharply higher, and raising bets of container shipping rates are also rising. Now, shares of GE Shipping have risen as much as more than 7.5%, And for SCI, they have surged 13.3% amid the growing expectations of a spike in the tanker and container freight rates on the back of the geopolitical tensions. And on the back of this, we do have the counters in focus today, and there is a possibility of a further fallout of Israel's large-scale military strike on Iran, a move that is likely that has heightened the risk of disruptions in one of the world's vital shipping corridors. And on the back of that, these stocks are in focus today.
Shipping stocks gaining on the back of rising geopolitical tensions, but LNT Finance, Rabinder, this stock is in focus on the back of a downgrade that has come in from UBS. Tell us, what does UBS have to say in its report?
Well, UBS has come out with a note on LNT Finance, and they have downgraded the stock to neutral from buy rating, but they have had target price of rupees 210 versus earlier target price of rupees 177. They say that the stock has risen approx 30% in last 3 months and is now trading at 1.7 times in its estimated 1 year forward PE as compared to its 5-year average PE of 1.2 times. They say that after a sharp rally, the risk reward looks balanced, so the rating has been downgraded to neutral, and the loan book is expected to grow at 20% annually between FY25 to 27, and the share of MFI in the total loan book is expected to reduce from 27% to 24%. They say that the valuation are already high of the stocks, and with the stock trading at 1.8 times FY27 price to book, reflecting an expectation of a shift from towards retail lending and better ROE. So back of this note, stock is down approx 1%.
Okay, so LNT Finance down 1% on the back of that report. But Rajesh, you have also picked up the stock for us. Tell us, what do charts indicate?
So overall, technically, the charts looks positive. In fact, if we see from 2017, the stock has been in a consolidation phase. Last week, there was a strong breakout post the RBI policy, and the breakout level somewhere around 175 to 180 levels still hold. So we still have a positive bias on the counter. In fact, in today's gap down, the stock exactly took support on the breakout levels. Also, technically, it's holding on to 20 exponential moving average on all kinds of dips. So 175 to 170 seems to be a strong support, and on the high side, we do expect stock to rebound towards 210 to 220 levels.
Okay, so that's the view coming in on LNT Finance. We could see further upside on this counter, but shifting focus to Jubilant FoodWorks then, where a block deal has happened today and the stock is in focus on the back of that. Remember, nearly 1.6% equity changed hands in 5 block deals that took place today, and about 1.06 crore shares changed hands. Now, we are getting to know from sources that Jubilant founders were looking to offload stake in this particular stake sale. So perhaps Jubilant founders could be the sellers in this block deal. We'll have more details of buyers and sellers later in the day. But for now, 1.6% equity changed hands. The stock is holding up with gains of 2% in an otherwise weak market.
Jubilant FoodWorks trading with gains of 2%. But coming to you, Kanishka, he has picked up HCL Tech for us. Tell us, what's the news flow here?
Right, HCL Tech shares are in focus after Swedish car maker Volvo Cars selected the Indian IT major as one of its strategic suppliers for engineering services. Now, this deal expands their existing collaboration in digital and product lifecycle management, that is PLM, now to include delivery of end-to-end engineering solutions at scale. HCL Tech will support Volvo Cars' engineering initiatives through its Automotive Center of Excellence in Sweden, along with its global offshore and nearshore delivery centers. Now, the company has said that the partnership aligns with Volvo's focus on sustainable growth and also innovation in future mobility. Now, following this development, currently the stock is flat, trading with a negative bias.
Okay, but let's keep it going with the tech sector then. Tech Mahindra. Rajesh, what do charts indicate for Tech Mahindra?
In the recent bull run, the IT space didn't perform well. But this week we are seeing that the IT space have really outperformed, and this week we are seeing that almost the Nifty IT is likely to give a cup and handle breakout. So in the coming weeks as well, we see IT space to perform. From the IT space, we are liking Tech Mahindra we can see a inverse head and shoulder pattern breakout on this stock. Also, the stock is holding on to 200 DMA after a very long time. So we expect Tech Mahindra to move towards the levels of 1750 in the near term, whereas on the lower side, 20-day exponential moving average is acting as a support. So somewhere around 1580 to 1600 is a very strong support for this counter.
Right, with that, it's time for a quick breather. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more buzzes in trade. Stay tuned.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, चलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ।
1,500 crores through additional Tier 1 bonds and 6,000 crore rupees through Tier 2 bonds. And in the back of this capital raise, Canara Bank is in focus today, currently reeling under pressure like the entire banking pack that's reeling under pressure with cuts of 4%.
Canara Bank down 4%, but shifting focus to some mining stocks then. NMDC, this one is in the spotlight on the back of a Kotak Securities report. Rabinder, tell us what is the target price for this counter, and the stock is declining in trade today.
Well, as Kotak Security has come out with a note on NMDC and they have maintained their sell rating with target price of rupees 55. They say that the domestic iron ore prices to correct further and the ongoing weakness in the steel price should trigger a normalization for the company, and ramp up of the merchant iron ore mines in India and weaker export should also add to a pricing pressure. They say that the supply pressure in domestic iron ore market to increase. So back of this brokerage note, stock is down approx 3%.
Alright, moving on then to the next counter. Rajesh, coming to you, the next counter that you picked out is Laurus Labs. Tell us on the charts, what do you see for this pharma stock? Because, you know, in the last 6 odd months, it has given a good outperformance of 16 odd %. From here on, do you see the positive momentum to continue on this pharma counter? It is headed towards its 52-week high, I believe.
Yes, rightly spotted from the pharma space. If we see Laurus Labs have done well, and it has continuously moved in a higher top, higher bottom structure where every dip towards 50-day exponential moving average has acted as a support. Now, if we see somewhere around 650, there were multiple highs on the weekly chart, and that levels has been taken off in this week. Also, the RSI indicator is showing strong momentum. So in the coming week, this defensive counter looks poised for a further move. Possibly 700 to 720 is what we are expecting with the price breakout. And on the downside, if we see 650 to 645, seems to be a very strong support for this counter.
That's the view coming in on Laurus Labs. But Kanishka, defense stocks are also in focus today. The likes of BEL, BHEL, we have Hindustan Aeronautics, which are gaining in trade today. What is the news flow?
That's right. Domestic defense stocks have, been seeing strong momentum today after Israel launched a series of military strikes on Iran, reigniting fears of a broader conflict and driving investor interest in defense-linked companies. The rally was fueled by reports of targeted Israeli attacks on Iranian nuclear sites and also key military personnel. Now, it appears to be the most significant attack that Iran has faced since 1980's war with Iraq. Now, multiple sites around the country were hit, including Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility as well. Now, following the strike, there has been sentiment strong sentiment in the Indian defense pack as well, with the likes of VDL seeing gains of more than 1%, BEL2 trading more than 1% higher, whereas HCL that's also trading almost 1% higher in trade today.
Okay, so those are all of these defense stocks in focus on the back of rising geopolitical tensions, but shifting focus to Crompton Greaves then, and this company is in focus on the back of an order win the company informed the exchanges about. In fact, the company said that they've received letter of award from Maharashtra Energy Department Agency. Now, this order of contract is about 100 odd crores, 101 crores to be precise. They say this is for development, design, manufacture, supply, transport of a solar photovoltaic power system at various locations across the state of Maharashtra. So, on the back of these order wins, the company has informed about. Crompton Greaves in an otherwise weak market is holding up with some marginal amount of gains in trade today.
All right, moving on to the next counter. HAL is the name that you picked out for us. Now, Rajesh, all these defense names have been a buzz, since the news of India's tension with Pakistan broke out, and since then they have been on a tear. And in fact, now also, given the geopolitical tensions, the defense pack is back in focus with the HAL. What do you see on the charts from here on?
Yeah, we just covered HL, and amidst geopolitical tensions looming in the background, this defensive space are likely to continue its outperformance. Since last couple of weeks, this stock has been in a range, but now today the stock, after holding on to its 20-day exponential moving average on the candlestick chart, we are seeing open low Marubozu candle, and also on the futures front we are seeing long formation. So in the coming week, we expect positive momentum in this counter, where possibly 5200 is what we are expecting. On the downside, the recent lows around 4800 seems to be strong support for this space.
All right, moving on to the next counter that is in focus today, and that is Yes Bank. Now, RBI has approved the extension of tenure of appointment of Mr. Prashant Kumar as the Managing Director and CEO for a further period of 6 months with effect from 6th of October 2025 or till the date of appointment of the new Managing Director and CEO successor taking charge, whichever happens earlier. In the back of this extension, Yes Bank is in focus today, currently succumbing like all the banks to the selling pressure. Yes Bank is also down 1.3%.
But shifting focus from Yes Bank to wires and cable sector, Ravinder, Motilal Oswal, I believe, has come out with a detailed report on this sector.
Well, as Motilal Oswal has come out with a note on cables and wires sector, where they say that the demand is expected to grow at a 13% CAGR between FY25 to 30 in wires and cables segment, with an additional demand likely to be higher than the new supply. And the export has been strong, growing at 19% CAGR between FY20 to 25, which is mainly driven by the demand from US, EU and Middle East. And the globally investment in the power grid is expected to double by 2030, and India is well poised to benefit from this. They say that, however, competition is increasing with major capex plans by existing players and new entrants like Ultratech and Adani. Although valuation has across the sector has come down, but they prefer Polycab in the entire segment, which has about 20% of market share. They have given a buy rating on Polycab with target price of 7,250. On Havels and KI, they have given a neutral rating. So a positive note on wires and cable sector, but the stock is reacting negatively. Havels and KI, both the stocks are in red.
All right, moving on from the cable and wire sector to the aviation sector. Kanishka, tell us why have you picked out the aviation stocks for us?
That's right. Aviation stocks are actually under a lot of pressure today after the Air India plane crash that happened in Ahmedabad yesterday. Now, SpiceJet shares, they are down about almost 2%. Interglobe Aviation, the parent company of Indigo, the shares of that company have fallen almost 4% in trade today. Now, this fall is coming after an Air India flight crashed shortly after taking off from Ahmedabad, killing 41 people on board. Now, this was one of the world's deadliest aviation disasters in a decade, and now the first fatal crash involving a Boeing 787-8 aircraft. Now, following this news, even in the US, Boeing shares also dropped overnight about 5%. So that's the reason why aviation stocks are in focus and are facing a lot of pressure. Now, apart from that, aviation counters are also in the spotlight against the backdrop of rising oil prices, given the tensions in the Middle East.
Okay, so aviation stocks falling on the back of that, but shifting focus to shipping counters then. In fact, Ankita did talk about the fundamental reason as to why these stocks are buzzing in trade today. But Rajesh, you've picked up GE Shipping for us, and this stock is also up nearly 2.5% in trade today. What do charts indicate for this counter?
Yeah, so if we see the charts of GE Shipping, today there is a strong momentum in this counter, and since Jan, the stock has been facing resistance somewhere around 980 to 990 multiple times. But today this range has been taken out, confirming a bullish breakout growth on the daily and weekly chart. Along with that, we are seeing that the stock is testing its 200 DMA and is showing strong momentum. Today we are seeing price and volume breakout, so we expect this move to continue. Possibly 1100 is what we expect as per the chart structure. On the downside, 950 to 960 seems to be very strong support for the GE Shipping.
All right, moving on then. Let's move on to the next counter, which is Utkarsh Small Finance Bank. Now, remember, for Utkarsh Small Finance Bank, a few weeks back, it had received an outlook of, a negative rating that ICRA had revised for it, and now for the Tier 2 bonds, also they have retained a CARE A+ rating, and the outlook has been changed to a negative, which is a negative news coming in for Utkarsh Small Finance Bank after the negative rating by ICRA as well. And on the back of that, Utkarsh Small Finance Bank is declining in trade with cuts of 1.5%.
The stock is down 1.5%, but remember, most of these banking and financial services stocks are under pressure today. We need to slip into a very short break on that note. We'll discuss many more buzzers on the other side of the break. Don't go anywhere.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड, मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ, सेंचुरी क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।